Hello. Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming. I see Evelyn was first. Wow. She got here soon. And Kelly, thank you for coming. And Stephanie, thank you for coming. Everyone. So today, I figured I'd give you an update on me as well as just kind of talk about some ways that we can take care of ourselves as teachers. Now, I work for VIP Kid, and thank you for coming to my channel if you're watching this on the replay. And my update is I'm working for VIP Kid. That is my most stable job right now, and I have gotten approved to teach for Cambly. I also teach for OutSchool. I am in the teacher base for yourteachablemoment.com. I have only taught one class with them so far. And I just got approved for Gogokid. So, yeah, and I really loved just the application was really fun. I enjoyed going through it. It was a little tedious because there were some things that didn't get approved and I had to redo and everything like that. But I did like the challenge of approving for another company. And thank you, Evelyn. And I really like the fact that I'm in the club. You know, so many of my teacher friends, they are on VIP Kid and Gogokid. And I feel like I've kind of like made it into the more than VIP Kid club. So when I signed up for Gogokid, I got 3 bookings right away, and I do have one more booking tonight, but I don't have any more bookings. So they're having a special right now, and they have a bonus for $300 if you open 75 slots of their PPT times, and if you do that all within a month, then or 30 days, then you get your bonus of $300. Hello, Kathy. Thank you for coming. Um, so I tried for that, but then I thought maybe I would do PPTs like at night. Then I realized, okay, they only want PPTs, the 4 main ones. For me, it would be morning, the 4 main ones of every day. So that would be 25 every week for at least 3 weeks, which, you know, you can just open them. And if you teach 3 classes, you get the bonus of $300. But, you know, you might not get booked. So I wasn't getting booked, so I kind of backed off of that. I took off all of my evening classes for Gogokid. I opened up my VIP Kid slots, and I don't think I'm going to make it for the $300 bonus because I am getting booked for VIP Kid, and I don't want to keep telling my students no, and I don't want to just go without, and then I get to the end and I made some kind of a mistake, and then I don't get the $300 either. And with it being right before Christmas, I'm like, I'm not chancing it. So that's my story. Update for Gogokid. I love it. I love the challenge. I got hired. I will post the link below if you would like some coaching on how to get how to apply for Gogokid yourself. Maybe you're watching this video and you do not work for VIP Kid, or maybe you have low bookings for VIP Kid. Then you don't mind opening for Gogokid. I saw some negative reviews on the content for the slides, but I kind of personally liked them. So I think that might be according to your judgment. Like, you can't read everything that you see online. If one teacher doesn't like something, then it might be something that you do like. So I wouldn't go by that. If you see reviews about Gogokid and some people don't like Gogokid, I wouldn't go by that. If you have the ability to apply for Gogokid, I would suggest to do it. It didn't cost me anything except for some of my time. And I do have another company to work for just in case something were to happen to my VIP Kid company. And so that's my story. So I'm going to stop trying to pursue the $300 bonus, but I'm still keeping my Gogokid, and I'll open a few slots, see how it goes. And I do like the curriculum. I like the company. I really liked the hiring process. I think it's a new process, so I think it's a little easier for people to work. Um, Kelly says, I think people complain about the K-level slides being too short. Okay. Yeah. So the slides that I did were kind of short, but it probably depends on the person if they feel like they can extend or not. Since I've been teaching for 2.5 years, extension is not a problem, and I kind of enjoyed it the last two classes that I had. But like when I was new to Vipkid, extension was a lot harder. It's like, what do I do? How do I make this last longer, kind of thing. So that might be a personality thing. I kind of liked having the extra time to get to know the student. Like today, I went through my Vipkid slides and I'm like, this is why I liked the Gogokid, because the Vipkid can be kind of grammar intensive and you feel like you have to get through all of it and you don't have time to really get to know your student. So it's a personality thing. And I'm going to make sure that I let everyone say hi to everyone. So hello, Kathy Kelly, and hello, Lisa. Thank you for coming. And hello, Luann. Thank you for coming. I appreciate it. So if you want to share, I'm going to give an update of my teaching. And then if you want to share a few self-care tips in the chat box, then I'll share that with on my video. I have a few ideas myself. And so, so Gogokid I enjoyed it. I just don't want to be the flipping back thing was kind of making me nervous, and I wasn't getting booked. Like if I had opened all the slots and all my slots got booked like miraculously, then I would have kept going with Gogokid because I want to work and I want to be able to, you know, I would have opened the slots if I was getting some business. So like I opened up the first day and I got booked right away. I'm like, wow, this is great. And I figured if they're hiring more people, then they must have plenty of bookings to go around. But I got into the Gogokid Facebook group and there were a lot of teachers complaining that they didn't have bookings. So I'm like, I don't really need to be taking bookings from those people. So I'm happy with Vipkid and I'm just going to do a few Gogos. And if something happens, I have another company. I can also use Gogokid as a company to refer people to. So I will post links below and I'm going to continue to use that as a, as a possibility that if I meet someone, they can apply for Gogokid and use my code. And so that's my story on Gogokid, and Vipkid is going well. I had one student last night because he requested a Friday night. So I opened the slot and it was one of my students that is just like, he doesn't really pay attention. He doesn't sound interested. It's just a really hard class. And he gets through the slides fine, but he has like no excitement, nothing to it. So it was a hard class, but I got paid for it, right? 7 minutes late. I did the class. It's only one class, got done. But if that student never booked me again, I would not care. I just feel like maybe there's another teacher that would reach that student better. Maybe he would enjoy another student, maybe another teacher, maybe one of the really happy men out there that's a really good teacher. I don't know. But I'm like, he needs to try to find maybe another person that could be more excited about that class. But I hadn't seen him for a long time and I figured maybe he moved on to a different teacher. So, but he came back. So Kelly says that's exactly what I do, all the things you said. Yeah. Yeah. And I love it. I thought it was a really awesome company. I love their videos. I like their training. I feel like it's more streamlined Thank you, Candy. I like your headphones. They sound great. Great. These are the headphones that I bought a while back, and I was going to return them, and then my kids wanted them for video games. And then I got my new MacBook Pro, and it works on. I heard that a lot of headsets don't work on the MacBook Pro, but this one does. So, and it works good for the sound. Like I can hear the students really well. So, yeah, they work for me. So I've been using them. And I have taught without headphones as well. And it is totally doable to work without headphones. I've done it a lot. So some people think, you know, they're stressing out if their headphones break, something happens, they can't teach, but you actually can teach without headphones if you needed to. So, what's the other thing? Let's see. Out school has kind of plateaued for me. I'm still in the working up phase. I did have a knitting student last week. We did the Plarn project. If you saw my other video with Evelyn, we worked on a plastic mat out of grocery bags. This is really fun. If you like to crochet, this is how far I've gotten. I think Evelyn has a lot more bags than I have, so she's going to town on that. And I loved it. She made a video and she said that now she has something to do with her stash of grocery bags, plastic grocery bags. So it's a really good craft, and you're kind of recycling, reusing, and keeping those plastic bags out of the environment. So it's a really fun craft. So we talked for a long time, way too long the other day, but it was a lot of fun. If you watch that video, you'll find out a lot about Evelyn and I. So it was a long video, but we covered a lot of life things. Hello, Marianne. Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming. I heard that Marianne was going to revive her YouTube channel, so we're kind of looking forward to that. Some really good videos from Marianne. So, oh, Stephanie, thank you. I love the video. Okay, so I think that's my teaching. Oh, wow, you watched the whole thing, Stephanie? Thank you. I just kind of let it go on, and I'm like, well, we're having a good time. We were doing our craft, and you know, it's so funny. There are a lot of videos on YouTube of people just knitting and just doing crafts and talking, and it meets a need for some people, doesn't it? So, especially right now. So today we are going to talk about self-care. And I saw a video that Danny Happy Farms put out, I think it was yesterday, that she you know, she's just going to take a break, you know, that's a big thing for self-care. Now, what I'm doing right now is I am using my iPad hooked up to my computer. So I can use this whiteboard here to write things on it. So I can clear this out. So one of the things that we can do for self-care is to take a break. You know, if you feel like you are going along and you feel like, you know, life is just, you're getting up in the morning and life is just really hard for you right now, you know, maybe switch it up. Maybe like, yeah, it's important to take a break every now and then. Like I decided I would take Sundays off. And, you know, you could maybe just take one day off a week, or you could take evenings off, or you could take, you know, a few days off. Just schedule it in. It's like with Vipkid, you have to schedule it in 2 weeks ahead of time. So start looking at 2 weeks forward and say, you know, how about if I just take a couple days to take off and just enjoy that break. So that is a suggestion for you. Or you could even just maybe open 2 slots instead of 5 or 6. You know, whatever you can afford with your schedule. But it is important to take a break and to, just try to, for me, I took off when I first started with VIP Kid, I tried to open every available slot. I worked anything that booked, just to get established. And so now I'm taking Sundays off and I'm taking Fridays and Saturdays off. And I can remember people making videos and saying, take a break. And I'm like, I love this job. I don't want to take a break. I feel revived. I love it. I can't wait to get started, and that's what it feels like at the beginning. But after a while, like 2.5 years later, you realize that I'm not loving this as much. So maybe if I take a break and just, I took a break when I went to Georgia, I took a whole week off and it felt really good to take some time off and not to have to get up. And even though some mornings it was kind of quiet, I probably could have taught classes. But I took it off and I made myself take a break. So Luann says she's taking 2 days off this coming week. I'm fried. Well, it's good to admit it. Kathy says, I agree. I'm taking 8 days off over Thanksgiving. I need it. Good job. And Marianne says, I've been taking 2 days off a week. Love it. Good job, Marianne. And Marianne is one who has taught 20 in a row sometimes. And, it's all of my friends that I met for VIP Kid. You guys are just the most amazing people. Once I got into VIP Kid and started getting to know the teacher community, I was so impressed with how hard everyone works, and we do this because we have a life that we're trying to support, right? So we do this to pay bills or to pay off debts or to just save up money. There are a lot of reasons why we do this. We're not just doing it because it's a blast. And there's times that we can get burnout. So schedule in some breaks, and other people are ready to pick up the slack when we're stepping back. And we just have to have faith that when we go back into it, we're going to be fine, and it's all going to work out, because when we go back into it, someone else is going to need a break. And there are people leaving, VIP Kid. There are people that just quit, and so there is a little bit of a turnover. So we shouldn't feel like, obligated that we have to do this every single day or we're going to lose our standing with the company. So far, it's been okay for me. So take a break before you get burned out. It's good to get rest and keep it fresh, right? So other ways that you can do self-care might be to make a goal for yourself to maybe a no tech day or a no tech time period. Like say for the next 4 hours, I'm not touching my phone. Or for the next 12 hours, I'm not touching my phone, whatever you can kind of work out. So for me, I'm taking like 3 courses. I'm taking Nancy Taylor's course. I'm taking Lainey Goff's course. It's kind of like a ongoing out school coaching class. I am also doing Tim's website in a weekend. Somehow I'm going to figure this all out. All of these are they have some live lessons, but it's also work at your own pace. So you can kind of schedule it however you want. And so I have a lot of things I do with my technology, but there are other things you could say, I'm not touching Facebook or I'm not whatever. And so Kathy says, I'm only in my second contract and have been several 1-week vacations and always have been fine with bookings. Awesome. And Lisa says, it's also good to get exercise since we often are sitting. Very good. That's a good one, Lisa, is to exercise. And that might seem like you are putting more out, like you're extending more energy, but whoops, I spelled exercise wrong. But giving that exercise, getting in shape and being physically fit is going to help you with your mind and all of that. Yeah, that is a good one. Very good. Thank you. So taking a break from your teaching, maybe taking techno breaks and doing some exercise, maybe even going out to lunch with a friend, meet up with a friend close in proximity, or maybe just, I know that we're trying to limit the friend thing, but find a friend. We need friends. um, so yes, I've been several step bets to make me walk. I don't want to lose any money. Yeah. So I kind of fell off the bandwagon of the step bet because I lost 2 of them and I was like sick of it. And I'm kind of in a little bit of a holding pattern right now and just kind of trying to relax, trying to like chill. So I'm trying not to like push myself right now. And where, 6 months ago, I was pushing myself. Now I'm kind of taking a break. And so those things are important too, to know when it's your time to do what. Now on Danny's video yesterday, she said she was taking time out from the company to spend with family. So when you do that, just make sure you do, those things that you wanted to do. I would suggest to make a list, because if you're like me, you say, I want to take a break, but then once you take the break, I have a million things that I want to do. And then once I have the free time, I don't know what I'm doing. So make a list of all the things you want to do when you have the time to do it. Like maybe write a letter, send a card, visit a friend, and do other things. Like maybe you want to color your hair, or maybe you want to just give yourself a hot oil treatment. I used to love that. I haven't done that in a long time, where you just put the oil on and just let it sit, and those kind of things. Give yourself a facial. So yeah, so this is one of the reasons why I went to this. I wanted to show you a picture. I was like, I remember one time that Evelyn did a facial right on right on the computer, but I did not. I didn't do it. I'm not doing it for you guys, but I will do. This is my facial mask, and I think we got one in the Good Fortune box one time. We got this facial mask and we were able to do that, and that's a really good way to kind of do some self-care. Give yourself a facial, maybe paint your nails. There's me. That was last night. How do I look? This is me before and the after. So last night I gave myself a facial, and I also, took a nice hot shower, did all the things that you need to do for that. And it was a lot of fun. And just by myself, like that's sometimes, I don't know about you, but I have a lot of kids, and I used to do a lot of these things like in high school and, when I was learning how to grow up kind of thing. But it's a long time. Sometimes I forget to do things for myself to make myself feel better or look better. And then you just get burnt out, and you feel like, what's wrong? Like, I'm tired, I'm having a hard time. And it's like, it's time to pull back and just do things for yourself. And, maybe do your nails, give yourself a manicure, a pedicure. And you can do these things for a low price. Or if you have the money, go ahead and go get it done somewhere. But just make sure you take care of yourself. I don't really want to spend the big bucks on going somewhere to have these things done. So I'd rather do them myself. There's another way that you can self-care would be, if you have a friend that makes soaps, you could support your friends. I have a friend that has a company, and I thought I might do that for Christmas for my daughters to buy like a kit, like a facial kit type of thing. Buy yourself a facial kit, give yourself a facial, or give yourself a pedicure, that kind of thing. If you have kids, like if Evelyn is watching this, one thing I used to love when my kids were younger is they would give me a foot massage. It was great. I would have two kids doing the foot massages and two kids doing a head massage. I love just having my head rubbed, and I would read them a story while they're doing it. So we all had a great time with it. So those are things that you can do for yourself. Does anybody have any other ideas? Maybe put on some good music. Like for me, I keep wanting to check the news, check my Facebook, do this, do that. Put on some good music and just make yourself zone out and just listen to the music and be quiet for a while. Or I am also doing a painting club. That's really fun. So you might not want to join the club for the monthly fee, but you could do on Facebook, there are one-time paintings. And if you're interested in that, I can give you a link to the artist that I am working with. And the first one I did was $10, and it was a 5-day class. And I loved it. So each day was like 45 minutes. I did it with her live while she was doing it, but you could also just watch the playback and do it at that time. And she's very encouraging. Everything's positive. You're not allowed to be critical. You're not allowed to criticize even your own work. And she just tells you to, be positive and to just follow the steps, and whatever it turns out, that's okay. Like, you don't need to say mine is not as good as yours. You just do it. And it was amazing. She also encourages you to take pictures of your work, and so you can see the progress. And it's amazing how good your painting looks when you take a picture of it. It doesn't always, when you're doing it, you kind of, I don't know, for me, I'm a little too critical. But afterwards, when you look at it, you're like, oh, that's not too bad. And then when you start showing people, they think it's amazing. So it's really encouraging for your spirit to just be uplifted. And you're not like bragging or anything. I don't know. I don't feel like it's bragging. It's just like, really? You like it? So Kathy Kelly likes to knit and listen to an audiobook. Awesome. Yeah, that's a great thing too. And there are, I think my husband's in the Amazon one, but you can also listen to audiobooks. Like, there are free places you can listen to them. And there are also a lot of them on YouTube. Like, some of the ones that are classics are on YouTube. So you could listen to those on YouTube. Cross stitching. Marianne likes cross stitching, and she's reviving her Spanish abilities. Awesome. And practicing piano. Great, Marianne. That is really awesome. And Kathy says knitting and listening to an audiobook. And I love to knit too. What do you like to make, Kathy? And for those of you who like knitting and crocheting, have you ever heard of Ravelry.com? Ravelry.com is an amazing site for people who knit or crochet. And you can go on there and you can find patterns for a lot of things. Now, way back when I first got into it, most of the patterns were free. Now, a lot of people create their own patterns and you pay for them, but there's still a lot of free patterns on there. And it's really cool because you can pick, like, say you pick a certain sweater that you want to make. You can click on that pattern, and then you can click on another link, and you can find all the people that have registered as knitting that same sweater. So it is really amazing. It's really fun. You can also take pictures of your work and you can put them onto Ravelry. So Kathy makes dishcloths for gifts and have made a few baby sweaters. A friend and I are just starting a new baby sweater with a slightly harder pattern. Awesome. That is so great. Yeah, I knitted when I was a kid, and then when we homeschooled, we did a lot of knitting, kind of like, just so that my kids had a home ec class going. And I was my second daughter really enjoyed knitting. She made sweaters, hats. She made a lot of hats. She made a lot of dishcloths. She sold dishcloths. So she would keep a stack of dishcloths, and wherever we went, people were like, sure, I'll buy 3 or 4. So that's how she had spending money when she was a young girl. She always sold her dishcloths, the cotton ones. Those are the ones that I want to teach on Outschool. I have Your Teachable Moment. I was going to do one, but I didn't have any people sign up. But there are lots of different patterns for dishcloths, and they are a fun way to like practice different stitches. You can also crochet them. And my second daughter also, she learned how to make socks. And 3 of my kids, we went up the street and we had a lady who had sheep, and we got yarn from her, and we all made mittens out of the yarn that were from her own sheep. So that was really fun. We also made a really cool poncho one year, and I looked through hundreds of poncho patterns. And the poncho that we ended up making was the poncho that Martha Stewart wore when she left prison. One of the inmates made her a poncho, and it was knitted, and I really liked it. I liked the poncho, so we made it. And it was knitted, but it was kind of looked like it was lace. And so all of us made it, and you make like 3 triangles and then you sew them together. So it was really cool. So Marianne says she can knit, but I'm not that good at it. I was in 4-H as a child and knit a sweater. Cool. My mom taught me how to knit. That's awesome. Yeah, knitting is funny because you can have a mom who loves to knit and none of the girls like to knit. Or you could have like some kid who's 10 years old and their grandmother knows how to knit and they're just so enthralled with it and they just go crazy with it. Knitting is just funny. It just grabs people and they just love it. Now, I am not a big crocheter. I do know how to crochet, but I met this lady on Ravelry, and she's the one who made this. I've never even met her in person, but somehow she started talking to me on Ravelry. Like they have like a communication system, kind of like Facebook, but you don't see pictures and stuff. It's more like email through Ravelry. And I knew that she made dolls. And so I asked her to make these for me when I started at Vipkid. And she lives in Texas. And so she made these for me. She crocheted them and I love them. And those are my dolls. And I paid her for them because I kind of commissioned her to make them. But I love them, and that's fun too. And Evelyn showed us on her video that she was making a manger scene crocheted, and every year she adds to it. So that's really cool. Yeah, thank you, Marianne. I love them. I just love them, and I love that my friend made them, and they just mean a lot to me. And I thought she did such a great job. She never heard of Vipkid. She was a teacher. She's a retired teacher, and she'd never heard of Vipkid. And I sent her the picture, and she kind of just made them herself. So I was very impressed. So I love them. And those are my dolls, and I'm not buying the ones on the website because I already have some. I think they're even more special because they're handmade. And another thing that I'm doing for self-care is that I am actually talking to a person that she's kind of a specialist, and I had some really hard things happen in my life in the past year. And so I was like, who can I talk to? And some things it's hard because when you talk to a friend, they're going to agree with you. They're going to side with you or feel sorry for you if you present a situation, because it's always like they're biased, which is fine. But I really wanted to have somebody who I could talk to that could help me sort out myself, like, how am I thinking about this? Am I thinking, you know, am I taking this too personally, or should I take this personally? So I am talking to a person that this person has kind of advertised that she's a counselor and everything. And so I thought, well, I'm going to talk to her and see what she says. So she gave a free counseling session, and then I have like appointments. And so for me, I feel like it's something I need just to figure out my figure out what's going on and how to look at certain things in my life. So that's another way you can give yourself some self-care, is to reach out. To me, I wanted to reach out to someone who doesn't know all the people in my life, that isn't going to make a judgment of other people in my life, and that is going to just kind of help me, give me tips on how to react to the situation, or what should I do from this point on. I realize that I have actual now, some of you have kids that have moved out of the house, but I do have kids at home. I have 3 kids at home, 1 kid in school in Georgia. And I've realized that with the older kids moving on and my life changing, even though I'm doing good things and I'm happy in one way, I'm feeling like really sad in other ways. And so I've realized that this is probably, my finger I point on is the empty nest syndrome. Even though my nest isn't empty right now, I still have some people in it. But I feel lost, and it's really sad. And I just felt like it was really kind of painful. Like, I felt physical pain because of all these changes. And so I think that, I did join a Facebook group of empty nesters, and I realized that there are a lot of people that their kids grow up and they are in pain because their kids, you know, maybe they're really awesome people, but they don't call and they don't come home and they don't, um, they don't show any care, they're on their own. And so it's like what we want for them. We want them to be independent. We want them to do their own thing. And it's hard. Like, we know how busy our lives get. We don't want them to worry about us and wonder, oh, I can't move on with my life because my mom is so sad. We can't let that happen. But we have to realize that it is a loss. It is an adjustment. And how can we respond to that? So Luann says that it is good to talk to an impartial person who is not connected to you personally or to the situation. Exactly. And you don't want to burden your friends. Like, a lot of times your friends are already going through stuff and they don't know what to say. They don't know what to do. And so you're kind of putting another burden onto them. And I don't know how these counselors actually do it, hearing all these problems, but obviously they're trained to do it and they've volunteered to do it. And maybe for them, they're not as attached to it, so they don't have to, live it. They just listen and give advice. I think empty nester is also harder if you have one or more young adult kids who aren't doing that great. Yeah. So yeah, it's hard the empty nester group, there are people that their kids are doing great, they just don't come home much. Or there's other really hard situations where the kids are just doing really crazy things and there's nothing they can do about it. And so that's hard too. It's hard. Yeah, definitely. But it's hard also when they are doing well and they're having a great time and they're living their life, but you don't see them much. That's hard too. So, Kathy, I'm certified in biblical counseling. It can be heavy sometimes to hear about all of the problems, but it's also a great joy to help others. Well, the woman that I'm talking to, she is also a Christian, and so she's able to kind of see me in my perspective as a Christian, because I feel like a non-Christian might not see your perspective. Like, why are you doing that? You don't have to do that. You can, but when you're a Christian, there are certain things you're going to do and you believe in and that kind of thing. That was my former profession. I now teach to take a break. Good, good, Luann. Yeah. So, the last time I talked to her, she really got me to, I don't know what she actually did. Like, we talked about a certain problem that I had, but I really felt physically better afterwards. And I've always been the kind of person that I'm like, I don't believe in counseling. I don't know why you'd want to go to a counselor, that kind of thing. But if you find the right person, um, and it does help to just let those things out. And it does help to have someone tell you, you know, this isn't just you, like other people go through this too. This is normal. And then how can I help you? Like, she doesn't just say, oh, well, get over it. How can I help you? This is what works. This is what helps people. One thing I told her was that, I'm the kind of person that I want to help people. Like, all through the years, my kids and I have always helped people. We've always reached out. We've always tried to help people whatever way we could. And I told her, I feel really bad right now because I'm not really helping people. I feel like I'm trying to just stay afloat. I need to I need to do some self-care right now. And she said, after all these years, maybe it's time you need to do that. I'm like, okay. But it was really good to just kind of feel that release, like it's okay. Maybe it's just a season for me, and I will be able to get back up and I'll be able to help people again. And so just right now, it's a season of just chill, and just kind of adjust to the changes in your life and try to just, accept what is. And the other thing we did this week was we got this little, really cute little cat. If you could see it, it's really cute. It's a really tiny little cat. And it's kind of a calico cat. And I know some people, during this time have gotten animals because, we're kind of isolated and we want to share, kind of have something to care about. And so I can't really afford a dog right now. There's so much into having a dog. So I figured I'll get this little kitten. And it was really cute last night. My son came with me to get the cat, and he had a great time with it. And we had to drive a ways to go get it, and then we brought it home, and he was like playing with it. Then he had a birthday party, and so he had to leave the cat. And then my daughter came in. She's 18. And I was surprised she didn't want to spend any time with the cat. So I was holding it and just kind of snuggling with it and everything. And then I would make supper, and I put it in the other room because we do have like a little chihuahua that can be I'm a little nervous around the cat. And so it was so funny. I'm like, why don't you want to you don't want to hold the kitten or anything. Like, that's kind of why I got it, was just to add a little bit of spice. I also wanted to show my VIP kid students, of course. But she's like, came in, got the kitten, and then I taught one class, and then she came in and she was like, it is so cute. Like, she was so cute. I think she didn't want to get attached to it, but she got attached to it. She just loved it. So that was, that's another thing, is to find something that's going to kind of like spice up your life a little bit, and something that works within your lifestyle or whatever. And so, yeah. So thank you guys for coming. Are there any other ideas? Sometimes just watching a video, chilling out. I only had 4 classes this morning, so usually when I do a live like this, I'll go back and do my feedback afterwards. And I'm hoping to bring some eggs to a couple that want some fresh eggs. Yeah, we're still getting a dozen eggs every day, which is awesome. And yeah, so we can have fresh eggs every day, so we won't go hungry. And the family that had the kitten, they actually have 14 kids. So my son, who's the 13th of 13, was able to meet another kid who's the 13th of his family. So that was really cool. So it's not every day that the 13th kid of a family meets another 13th kid, or that he meets a kid from another large family. And the mom, she seemed a lot like me, like we hit it off. I know who she is, but she's a really good friend of another friend of mine, and we don't live close enough to really, get together and stuff. But yeah, we had a great just talk and everything. It was a really great time. And so that was really fun. So it seemed like she kind of lived a similar life, just kind of being a mom for all the years. Just a thought. People connect grieving with death, but you can grieve change or a loss of anything. It is just simply a loss. Yeah. Yeah, I feel like grieving is hard. Death is hard. But I think that the hardest thing that I found in life is rejection. Like, we have been in church work for 20 years, and I think rejection is the hardest thing to live with. And I was not rejected by my father or my mother, but I've been rejected by other people. And I know people who've rejected by their parent would be, I'm sure, even more painful. But knowing that feeling where the other person had a choice and they chose to reject you, like death wasn't a choice. My dad died, and that was terrible, but that wasn't his choice. But when a person rejects you by their choice and they choose not to associate with you, that is the worst. I think that is the worst feeling in the world, in the whole world, rejection. And if you're a Christian, you know that Jesus was rejected by God, in order to pay for our sins. And that had to have been the ultimate pain of ever in the whole world ever. So rejection is hard. What kind of church work are you in? Yeah. My husband's a pastor, and we have a very small church. And after COVID happened, it's even smaller. But we do have some really good people, really, really encouraging and special people in our church right now. But over the years, the rejection it can be debilitating. It can really, really be debilitating. Especially when you think, I'm going to share the love of Jesus. I'm going to, show them what the Bible says, and God loves all people. And, you just don't expect the hard times that come with rejection. I mean, I'm not even talking about, you know, financial problems I can handle. Anything I can handle, but the rejection and the unforgiveness, and even by some people who say they're Christians, is the ultimate of pain. So I think that, even empty nesters, like, you want your kids to grow up, you want them to move on. That is part of life. That is our goal. We want them to be independent. We want them to succeed in life, and we don't want to be a burden to them. But we don't want to be rejected either. So, like, when I grew up, I always called my mom like once a week. I always kept in touch with her. That was my choice. I suppose there were seasons I wasn't as, conversational as others, but my grandmother was home. I sent her letters. I made sure I sort of tried to keep in touch somewhat. But, when you have this generation seems to be different because the stories are similar. Um, the stories are similar. My oldest daughter, she went away to college in California for 1 year Bible course. When she came home, she was helping, ministering, she was being a blessing. She realized I can be a blessing at home, I can minister at home, I can, be a blessing to my family. Um, but other kids go to secular colleges and it's all about me. What am I going to do with my life? I'm going to get a job. I'm, going to work and be consumed with it. And just, it's all about me. It's a whole different mindset in the world today. And there's not as much loyalty to family as there used to be. And that's just the truth. And after all that's coming out in the world right now, it's it's how things are set up, unfortunately. So, and people that come to church, they need to be dedicated to the Bible because we can't really get along and love each other the way we should. We need help from God, honestly. We're all, people coming together. Everybody has different lives, everybody has different perspectives, and we need to come together with the truth of God's word. That's what's going to bind us together. And we are going to have differences. We're going to have difference of opinion. We're going to have different perspectives. And the thing that unites us is the love of Christ and knowing that he puts us together and he gives us different gifts. Some people have a gift of mercy, some people have a gift of giving, some have a gift of administration, teaching. And so you can't expect everyone to have all of those gifts the same as you. Now, I have heard a lot of talk about gifts and that we all kind of have all the gifts of the Spirit, and just at different levels. But we know that some people have a true gift of teaching, and other people have a true gift of administration or giving or mercy. And, I've seen it over the years that why doesn't this person understand this person is because they have different gifts and they see things differently. This person loves to give and they just love to give and they love to see how people receive. And then this person loves to just be merciful. Let me help you. Let me relieve your pain in some way. Let me give you a hug, So everybody has different ways that they contribute to a body of believers. And that's how it all works together. And when we have differences, we have to work those out, not just run off to some other church and leave everyone. So that's my opinion. And I think that God puts people together that are different so that we can help each other, And I think it's cool when you meet with people that are like you. Like with Evelyn, I feel like even though we're different in age, we connect in our like outlook on life and our, thought processes kind of thing. We like crafts. We like a lot of the same things. But if I meet someone else who's different than that, then we work together and appreciate their differences and don't just criticize them for those differences. So thank you, Marianne. So those are my thoughts about being self-care. Don't feel like, you can't do some things to help bring yourself into a proper alignment. And there's a lot going on in the world. Like, we just had the time change, which makes everybody tired. And it's going to be an income change for a lot of people because they lose time teaching. Their world changes right now. We don't know what's up. We don't really know what's up. Kathy, thanks for the great video. Erin time, we'll pray for you. Thank you so much, Kathy. I'll pray for you too. Thank you guys for coming to this, and I appreciate your support and your friendship. And so we don't really know what's going on in the world today, but we do know that we were created by God and He has a plan for our life, and we just need to give ourselves to that and trust whatever happens that He is in control. And I appreciate all of you on the video and coming here to just talk about what we can do to help ourselves just keep plugging along, keep being strong. And many of us on the group here, we're the ones that are strong for our families. We're the ones that have to, just keep going. And when they do need something, we're going to be there ready to help when the time comes. That's my plan. So thank you. Thank you, Marianne. And thank you so much for coming. And I will see you guys next time. Okay. All right. Thank you. Have a great day. Bye.